Anatoliy Polyakov is a Russian citizen who was inspired by the Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity and came to Kiev following an invitation from Ukrainian activists. Back home, in Petrozavodsk, he actively participated in social and political life. It was 2012 or even 2011 when the protest movement started in Russia, and I took an active part in it. During that time, I used to make various video reports about the Russian government, about corruption and so on. When Maidan started in Ukraine, naturally I got interested and supported it. I had hoped something like this could also happen in Russia. During Euromaidan, Anatoly spoke before the participants of the revolution and spoke about the Kremlin's totalitarian regime. Polyakov also helped bring Russian journalists and oppositionists to Ukraine. It was for the March of Friendship. It was when we organized for Russian oppositionists and journalists to come to Ukraine. We sent some of them to Lviv, others to Kharkiv and Ivano-Frankivsk, and then they all gathered in Kiev and shared their experiences. They just couldn't understand where all these people Russian media kept talking about were, the people who were presumably being oppressed for speaking Russian. At the beginning of 2015, Anatoly went to the occupied territories of the Donbass with a humanitarian mission. According to him, there was a deal with the self-proclaimed authorities about organizing a social project for those living in the occupied territory of the Luhansk region. Instead of cooperation, the militants locked Anatoly in a cellar. When I recall the time in captivity, I realize that the worst thing for the militants was that I supported Ukraine while also being a Russian citizen. They found it disgusting. Anatoly's cell was just 4 square meters in size, with a cement floor and a table instead of a bed. Anatoly endured 9 months of torture, beatings, and humiliation. Several times, Russian-backed militants took him to a fake execution. At first, they were very cruel, very emotionally charged. They tried to break me both physically and mentally. When they say that they are going to shoot you, it's real for you. And then you try to hide within yourself, inside your subconsciousness. You keep repeating, "This is not me. This is not happening to me." And then they force you to kneel down and raise their guns, and it's still way too real. While in captivity, Anatoly almost completely lost his ability to hear, and at one point weighed just 40 kilograms. Hunger is something terrible. It's terrible beyond imagination. I never knew before what real hunger is. It's when you wake up in the middle of the night and realize that you're drooling, and you search around the cell hoping to find at least something, like a scrap of paper, to swallow it just to satisfy your hunger. The other problem was heat. There were some pipes in the cellar. It felt like a sauna inside. Usually the temperature was around 30 to 40 degrees Celsius, and I was sweating, losing water all the time. There was a tiny crack under the door, and I used to lie down and try to breathe through it to catch even a bit of fresh air. Anatoly was freed from captivity in December of 2015. He now lives in Kyiv. He settled down in a local hostel and works hard, trying to help former hostages to adapt to life after captivity. I want to solve the problem, to finish it, to give people who were freed all the help they need. While still in the militants' captivity, only the hope to one day be free kept Anatoly alive. He dreamed of coming to the Ukrainian capital and visiting Babi Yar. It's the best place for peaceful contemplation, he says. For me, it's a symbolic place because life and death are intertwined here. Like it was in the moments I survived in captivity when they took me to fake executions. When I'm here, I always think about the people who died here. What were they thinking about? It's a scary thought, because even at the moment when you realize that the next second you might be dead, you still cling to life. You still hope to live.